Hello and welcome to a special Happiness Is podcast with me, your host, Bruce Aitchison from Happiness Egg Shaped. And today we are talking to a couple of people about causes pretty close to my heart, close to your heart as well, if you are a rugby lover, and that's probably why you're tuned in. Let's not waste any time. We've got a big event coming up and we want to hear all about it to raise money and awareness for some really important causes. So let's welcome to the stage Rob Lynch and Andy Jarrett. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
All good. Thanks, Bruce. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Very excited to speak to you both. Andy, we'll start with you, the man behind Egg Chasers. Now, I've known about Egg Chasers for a while. I'm a bit jealous that I'm too far away and I can't quite get there. I'm still waiting for my invitation. Talk to me about Egg Chasers.
Yeah, of course. So we founded in 2018 when I was just scouring the internet and read a blog from an old county mate, realised that he'd just been diagnosed with MND. So it was kind of that pull your finger out and do something about it as well to help out. Always wanted to try and start some sort of charity team for some reason. Pretty much the best reason I could have come up with, if you could put it that way. So straight away set about trying to find sponsors, get players on board, fixtures, all that stuff that goes on, the admin in the background. It takes a lot of work, but in fairness, the rugby community being what we are, it didn't take long to get some good sponsors on board that allowed us to get kit, which is obviously the main thing. And to get the players was almost inevitable, at least straightforward. They came up straight away, and within a couple of months, we had the kit. We had players on board. We had a fixture, and it's like, this is starting, and all because our mate Mike Crispy got MND, and he was with us, supported us all the way.
And that community that comes together, rugby, MND, it's grown since then. What's been the journey since that first game?
It's been a great journey. It's hard when you're doing something like this. You're obviously doing it for a great cause. For people that need the support, they need the funds, they need the awareness, they need everything with it. So there's always a sad side to it. But what I wanted to do from an egg chaser's perspective was, let's do rugby like we used to do it, and let's do it like Crispy used to do it. Let's play a game, let's play hard, regardless for charity. I still want to win those games. And let's make sure afterwards we have the sing-song, we have the beers, we have the celebratories that come with it. So from that first game, we obviously did the above, and we've had some great games. We've played at Cardiff Arms Park. We've played against Bristol Wanderers, Gloucester Cherry Pickers. There's been some fantastic teams we've played against in some fantastic stadiums and venues. All along, we've had games, after-match events, Hawaiian barbecues, and loads of raffles, loads of things that happen after the game that help us raise the money. And right now, we're sitting quite comfortably and humbled with the amount of support that not just the Egg Chasers players have done, but the sponsors and everybody who's come to watch games. It's been very humbling.
Yeah, it's a class thing to be involved with. And Rob, not necessarily the Egg Chasers, but your involvement, not necessarily with MND, although you're involved in what's going on, but the Matt Ratana Foundation in memory of a pretty phenomenal human.
Yeah, very much so. Everything that people talk about Matt, it was pretty much true. He was a wonderful guy. I've often said when I'm asked about him, he's the sort of guy you wanted to see come through the changing room door on a Saturday. You felt like you had more of a chance if Matt was playing. He'd lift the spirits and play well. Tragically taken away nearly 5 years ago now, 4.5 years ago. Only a few months off retirement in a pretty horrific situation, all of which is very public, and the trial and the inquest into the nature of how the chap was arrested and not really searched. So Matt's biggest thing was, as a policeman, was trying to be proactive and not allow people to offend in the first place, or if they had, to not re-offend. So he had started putting on in his spare time. However he got his spare time, I don't quite know. He seemed to bend time, did Matt. But he was running a little course for some kids after school. So they'd leave school at 3:30 or whatever, rather than just wandering around the street corners or the shopping precinct. getting into trouble or worse, he'd put on, this is all about rugby. Come along and play. No entry fee. Just come in and start playing. And he was coaching down at East Grinstead. I played with him at London Irish, but he was coaching at East Grinstead. And after his passing, some of his mates continued the first project in Croydon. That resulted in 5 schools getting involved. The Atlas Foundation, Jason Leonard, took us under their wing. If you Google something called Tackle London, you'll see that the Mayor of London scheme has put in a substantial amount of money. We now have something like 1,000 children a week, both during school time and afterwards, involved in a Matt Ratana Rugby Foundation series of projects. And there's half-term and holiday clubs. There's an outreach project in the West Country and one up now in Yorkshire. Had real success. There was one lad who was the one-man crime wave, and now he's the under-17s captain, and all his members are now playing as his rugby mates, and it's just a shame Matt's not around to see it. But you kind of feel that he's up there looking. He was half New Zealander, so there's a big sort of New Zealand Maori tinge to it. The something called the principle of whanau, which looks like wanau, and you'll see it on the literature. That means family. Very similar to RFU. Theories of teamwork and discipline and respect and all that sort of thing. So all that's drilled into people. We've had 3 or 4 games. We've played the National England Police team twice. We played a game last year down at Dings in Bristol against Mike Tyndall's Rugby for Heroes, which was Andy's last game, in fact, and we had him piped off the field by a bagpipe playing the old lament when the battle is o'er, and he was clapped off the field to British Lions applauding him off the field. We've had support from Tim Stimson, Dean Richards, Peter Winterbottom, Danny Grucock, Mark Slater. Zinzan Brook was there last year, and then raised a lot of money. It cost something like £7 to put a kid through to get started in the scheme. That's basic kit, but just to get going, kicking that funny shaped ball around. And after the Dings game, which was February last year, we did a sponsored walk beforehand and got national TV coverage. And then we got a phone call from the Doddy Weir Foundation. Would you like to put a game on? So the answer was yes. The thought was where. We'll come up with that later on. And that's morphed into the game that we've got on the 4th of May at Gloucester Hartbury.
The game that Andy wants to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Always.
So you come about, you get a call, and like these things do, the rugby community, the call is answered, and it tends to be a yes, and we'll work out the details later. So the 2 year now putting the meat on the bones. Andy, what have we got to look forward to? May the 4th, Star Wars Day, is that right?
It is Star Wars Day, yeah. What a day that is. Look, we've put together quite a decent squad full of players that represent both Egg Chasers, Forehead Foundation, Doddy Weir, and of course David Lawrence as well. We've got his son playing for us. We've picked some pretty special players to be with us, and some big names, some names from the past, and some names that are just people that need to be involved because they help out, they support myself as an Egg Chaser so much. So there's reward for the right people to be involved in events like this, and the day itself will be pretty huge. We've got loads of things going on before, during. We have lunches, we've got Q&As, but on the field, some lovely new kit that we'll be sporting, and I think Matt Ratana's team's got a pretty decent kit as well. We're looking forward to it. There's some pretty good names out there, so it's going to be a good spectacle on the pitch.
Yeah, Rob, the last time we spoke, you were getting pretty excited about some of the people that are involved, and Andy's already said when he made the calls, people were keen to get involved. Who can we expect to see?
Well, we can see coaches like Dean Richards, Harry Roberts, Danny Grucock, for example, Mark Atkinson, Ian Kench from Oxford Rugby and ex-Richmond, and who goes right back to university with Ed Slater. We can see Hollywood, the women's refereeing the game. And there are players like Buster Lawrence, there's Dave Hilton, Dolly's old mate, Matt Banahan, Nicky Little, a certain Billy 12 Trees, just to name but few. It's really quite something.
And the other events that are around it, how can people get involved if they're not selected in one of the two teams, Rob?
Well, we've got kind of to mirror the precursor to the Dings game last year. We've got a sponsored walk on the Friday and Saturday, the 2nd and 3rd of May. We're starting off at Stroud railway station about 9 o'clock and walking along the canal and heading up through the Cotswolds. We're staying overnight at Painswick Rugby Club. And Craig Mayo, the president there, will happily put us up, which is wonderful. Lovely club, nestling in the Cotswolds, a really happening place, real centre of sport. tennis, cricket, rugby. It's a really nice area, and they're doing a lovely job with a brand new pavilion. They're putting us up, and then on the Saturday, we walk up the Cotswold Way from Painswick into Cheltenham, and then we're all heading over to Gloucester, stay overnight, and then head down to Gloucester Hartbury on the Sunday morning. So if anyone wants to come on the walk, it's about 15 miles each day. 9 o'clock, Stroud railway station, finishes at Painswick, and then Painswick to Cheltenham on the Saturday, about 15 again. We'll put details in, but ping me a text or an email. Be lovely to have on board, or sponsored. There'll be a Just Giving page, and but all that's going to happen before the game, and then on the day itself there'll be a Q&A hosted by Jill Douglas, and then the game, and then an auction afterwards on the Sunday.
It's action packed, Andy. The players, when they start lacing the boots up, they take it pretty seriously. Has anybody started a new training regime to get themselves ready for it?
There have been a few, to be honest. Yeah, whenever you send out the invitation to a game, look, we are all vets. The Egg Chasers, we are vets, and some of them, because I'm certainly not playing anymore, do dabble still in a few second team games, but a few aren't. So some have, as soon as the invitation's gone out, they've gone, right, I need to get myself fit. So they start going running, be it maybe a week, and then they think we can't do it. There's a few, but look, there's enough players, and that's the point. We always want to have a big squad, because nobody wants to do 80 minutes anymore. Absolutely not. So there's a squad enough. Go and do your thing for 10, 15, 20 minutes, then come off. Somebody else goes on, and it's just a rotation. And that's how both sides are, just to make sure that everybody can do what they think they still can for a brief moment.
And playing where you're playing is obviously pretty significant, and it's a big rugby community who are rallying around, everything that's going on just now. It's an important place, isn't it?
It's great to be at the Forehead Stadium, Hartbury. It's fantastic because of the connection it has with Forehead and for Kingsholm and for Gloucester. It's great. The Gloucester community get behind rugby. It's what the city is. Being a Gloucester boy, loved it, grown up with it. It's going to be pretty exciting, and I'm pretty sure there's not going to be a spare seat in the house. So great to get them behind us, yeah.
And Rob, Matt, I never met the guy. I remember when it happened. I follow the social media and what's going on, and he sounded like a pretty exceptional guy from, New Zealand police, rugby, cared about the community. You said that you're sad he's not here to see it, but that legacy is continuing on, and the people that are still here. What's the plans for the future? How does it grow?
Well, it is something that's taken us by surprise. As I say, they started off just keeping one little project going, and suddenly it morphed. And the plan is to get into all the London boroughs. It sounds a bit London-centric at the moment because that's natural. He was a Met Police officer, and you start somewhere, and there's already funding and promises in place, and we know what to do, what not to do, what's worked, what hasn't worked. It's finding headmasters and headmistresses who actually nominate these children. It's not just a volunteer thing. Getting the right coaches, and it's also getting the right rugby clubs that have the right youth structure all the way through. So you put those three together, it works. So that's naturally sitting where it is. The idea we could take that around the country a lot more over the time. Obviously, it's a cash flow thing and getting the right people and the right structure. So it's a case of sort of taking time to get it right rather than rushing in somewhere and getting it wrong. So we've had all sorts of conversations with universities and interested people all around the country saying they'd like to help. How do we do it? What's the right structure? So it takes a while to get it right, but there are a lot of plans to widen it. And I say, I think Matt would just love it. It's such a shame that he's not there. His partner Sue will be at the game on the 4th of May, and she's come to many of the games, and obviously been a very tough time for her with losing her partner, and then finding out the circumstances around that, and going through the trial and the inquest. Not easy, and she's a woman of remarkable courage, and she stood up and spoke, and there was an unveiling of a statue, effectively, of Matt at the East Grinstead ground, and to do that within a year of her partner going, I thought was very brave. So she'll be along, and we keep her informed all the way through what we're doing. So the idea is to expand it carefully in a controlled way, and there are lots of other groups in a similar space and wanting to do something. So we're all talking to one another, so we don't step on toes and that sort of thing, and learn lessons. So it's been a really great thing to be involved in. Matt and I were not best mates by any means. I played with him for a while at London Irish. There are many that would have known him better, but he helped me with something. I was able to help him with something as teammates. And this is kind of the least I can do, I suppose. And with a lot of other people, Pete Mitchell and many others were involved, Gary Gordon, Sean Morgan, all more closely involved with organising the actual rugby. And Pete Mitchell and I seem to have fallen into organising events, which is fine.
Yeah, and you're doing a blooming good job. Andy, the game of rugby is, well, I know you want to win it, but in these situations you realise it's the least important thing. It's the people you've met, the relationships you've built, that chance to build another experience with good people and new people and make some memories. But you mentioned about the players before. I'm not amazed, but I always love seeing these things happen. You have to enjoy it. Doddy very much wanted any fundraising and any legacy to include fun. Yeah. You obviously love it, and getting back into a changing room is probably the thing we all missed. Take us into an Egg Chasers changing room and preparation, and when boys arrive, and the chat on the WhatsApp group. Take us into that.
So I remember vividly. So going back to our first game, what you're saying there is about the players turning up and what it's like, and being humbled. That first game is a scary place to be. Just like Matt Ratana's first ever game. Is it going to work? Are people going to turn up? Are people going to come and watch? I remember standing there in the club, just watching players just trickle through. Every single one of them turned up. It was like, as rugby is, it was like we'd seen each other the week before. And some of these guys I hadn't seen or played against or with for years, but we're just suddenly mates again, and you just carry on where you left off. Everybody turned up. It was a great game, really, really successful with the fundraising side. And it's the same now. The messages I get after every game is, it's almost like a thank you. And it's not me. I may have started the process, but every one of those players has been part of this process and part of the legacy. They're part of a new family, and that's how they call it. Just like Rob was explaining about the Now Cup and how it's a family. It's the Egg Chasers family. So everybody sticks together, and they're quite a committed bunch. Mm-hmm. In usual terms, so we'll rock up to a game, probably late, because people have lives. I'll stand on the sideline getting frustrated as I'm like, where the hell are they? That's my pre-match talk out the window, because those certain players aren't here and whatnot. But look, we've always had a good sized squad. I'm just being greedy. When I want 25, 30 players, I'm just being greedy. It's just me. But look, the guys, the music's on, the sweets are out, and it's just a really good vibe. As we picked on earlier, we're doing this for a sad reason. But as you've explained about Doddy wanted any fundraising to be fun, it is fun, and that's my ethos. Is let's play a good hard game of rugby in the right manner, but afterwards let's have a good crack, because we always played rugby for that crack after, and we do that very well. The stories I won't go into because I don't think they're for airing, but because of how we act and how we play the game and afterwards, I think we're creating a legacy that I didn't dream we would. Like the first game, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have a target of let's raise this amount and then stop. It's just kind of ball road, and we're sitting on 17 games later, since 2018, 40 grand raised for MND. The awareness that we're doing, along with all other charities and foundations and people doing great sponsors things for the charity, every bit of awareness is huge. So we're big on that, and we've got a great bunch behind us making us raise those money and make other people aware of what we're doing.
It's been an incredible thing just with MND, the contribution the game of rugby has made to awareness for MND. You know, other people have had it, and you know, well-known celebrity names have had it, but
yeah,
Doddy, Rob, Ed, between them have probably done, you know, Stephen Darby, kind of, but the game of rugby has really made a massive contribution to people's awareness and the fundraising. Do you feel responsibility now, or are you still just enjoying and wanting to give it back?
No, yeah, I do feel responsibility, because I do think it's our responsibility as people, as humans, to help each other out. And our ethos for Egg Chasers is we're supporting those who are living with or affected by MND. So it's not just the people that are sadly have the diagnosis, but there's family out there that needs respite. There's equipment that's needed, and the support that a family would need after somebody passes. So I take that responsibility on my shoulders, and I think we all do. All Egg Chasers do, all Rob Lynch's crew, every charity takes a bit of responsibility. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. And I think it's genuinely a lovely thing that we're doing. And isn't that what we should be doing more of?
Yes. Yeah, amen. Rob, the joining of forces, I love. You know, I've been involved a lot with MND and with Doddy's Foundation. I was down at the 745 game in Leeds, where, you know, charities but for the same thing came together. To have something like this, I think it's just incredible. I think it's a brilliant meeting of minds and bodies. The Matt Ratana Foundation's building this reputation, you know, and you're a part of that. It's a pretty incredible thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Andy's probably the same. We kind of pinch ourselves by it was a tragic scenario, same as MND is. It, you know, we pinch ourselves the amount of people that want to get involved, and you start naming former players or current players. I won't, but it's now getting like a game of top trumps. You know, I will. I'll give you Dean Richards. I'll give you Zinzan Brook, or it's ridiculous. Simon Shaw. You know, it's just nuts. I shouldn't have mentioned, but it is. You do pinch yourself, and these are all lovely people who just want to get involved. And some have raised money on the quiet without any fuss, don't want any glory. I won't mention them, but they really have just got on with it, and that's just fantastic. They just want to do it. And how can I help? And one or two people in particular will drive the length of the country, literally, to turn up and coach a game. So I will mention Dean Richards and Tim Stimson, because, you know, we had a game Whitsun last year down at Pete Mitchell's ground at St Francis in Crawley, and we played a police team. And it's the Friday before the Whitsun bank holiday, and Dean Richards drives from Northumberland, picks up Harry Roberts, his old Leicester hooker Springbok mate, and they came down. Hallam, Andy's mate, came along from Bristol to coach a bunch of old vets playing a police team. You know, they don't have to. There's no fee. It's just want to do it. And I'm driving these guys around at 1 a.m. looking for a cheeky kebab in Crawley High Street. And then you're having breakfast with them, and you're talking about bits and pieces and grassroots rugby. And Harry's starting an app to get grassroots involvement back in, and he's passionate about it. And they'll turn up to events, and then we'll go and support them. Went up to Northumberland to support Dean and the team he's now coaching, and he organised a hotel for us and everything else. And it's just a lovely involvement with a really nice bunch of people who want to make a difference, and that is the rugby group. I suppose it applies to other sports as well, but I've played rugby all my life, and this is what I know, I suppose, and the same with Andy. And we it just amazes us, all of us, the amount of support that they want to if they can't make it. Tim Stimson can't make it to the 4th of May, but it's very much I'm tied with something else. How can I help? What else can I do? What else can I get involved in? What auction or raffle can I help organise next time round? And they'll come to one or two other games that we've organised and just help out. And it's just fantastic.
Andy, have you stood in the clubhouse after one of the games and just taken a moment to sort of survey the scene?
Yeah. After most of the games, to be honest, I'm quite an emotional, passionate chap. But it hits you, as Rob just explained, it hits you because it is so humbling. I just thought about setting up a little group of people, old blokes, that just have a bit of a run out, and it's just sort of steamrolled it. And I sit back there before the game when everybody's in the change room getting changed. It is lovely. I look around and think, this is lovely. Thank you to everybody who gets involved in my mind. During the game, now that I'm not playing and I'm doing the stuff on the sideline, it's a pleasure to watch. Obviously want to play, as we all do. We're a long time retired, and I think I've gone on for too long. But afterwards, in that clubhouse, when it's packed, everybody's got the beer. We do our speeches. I make a point for every game we have. I'll bore everybody with a quick speech, which turns into a long speech, just drab. But we'll always have a good toast. We'll always have a bottle of port, and we do the right things because, as we used to like port in the day. So it's always a good toast to Crispy. The reason why we're there, just to look around and see the guys having fun for such a good cause. It's a legacy that I think is very, very, very humbling to be part of.
Yeah, class. Rob, have you got a target for this game? Is there a figure in your head, or is there a number of people you want? Have you got some targets, or are you just hoping everything goes smoothly?
I suppose, in the sense that the benchmark was the Dings game last year against Mike Tyndall, Geography Heroes. We raised about 25 in total for his charity and ours. About 1,000 people. It was a midweek. It was a Wednesday night, and do you know what? It was a wonderful night. Andy will attest to that. It was just everything worked. John Pullin's son, John Pullin Jr., led the auction. People were throwing in auction prizes during the auction. You know, we had a bagpipe where a friend of mine plays the bagpipes from Boys Brigade onwards. He grew up in the Croydon area, the Windmill Road police station where Matt lost his life. He didn't know Matt, but he knew some of the other serving officers. I was talking to him once at a meeting in London, and he said, I was telling him about the Egg Chasers, and we played at Cardiff Homes Park, we played Cardiff Headway, and we had two Welsh guards piping us onto the pitch. And he said, I play the bagpipes. Can I play the bagpipes at the next Matt Ratana game? So we now have our official piper. And they all lined up, and he played the New Zealand anthem. I think Zinzan had a couple of tears maybe, and everyone's it echoed around a still ground that evening. It was really quite something. So that, I don't know what you might think, Andy, that to me is now the benchmark. 25 grand raised and 1,000 people. Anything more, if we don't. Whatever we raise is still good. If we can do more than that, we've already got sponsors. We've got the Q&A sold out. We're already in surplus, if that's the right word to use. Tickets are selling very well. So I think we'll beat that. That will be the plan. And we were on national TV last year. We had an anonymous donation of £1,000 the second after BBC Breakfast finished a piece on us, which is really humbling, as Andy said, and it's just fantastic. So if we can get to that kind of level or more, that would, even if we don't, it doesn't matter. But if we do, that will be a real result, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, I absolutely love it, gents. It's everything that just screams the goodness of the game. Andy, I know you're there for the charity and to raise money, but one of the things that I think you're creating a chance for a whole load of or has-beens or whatever they were to lace it up and go again. Do you realise that gift is priceless, my man? Do you realise that?
Mate, I know that. I hung on to that for too long myself. Absolutely. And mate, if it wasn't for the sake that my knees are just crumbled, I've got one that's been replaced, I would still like to get out there and have 20 minutes. Give me a scrum. If you could do the NFL stuff and just go on for a scrum, then come straight off, I'm there till I'm 70, mate. But I do understand that. I do understand. Again, it's the responsibility that we've got. We're obviously doing this stuff for charity, but you're right. It's just there's an opportunity for some old codgers they're still decent players and they just want to have 10, 20, 30 minutes. Some of them will say, I just want 5, and then they last 25 and 30. And that's what makes it incredible is they're willing to put their bodies through pain, because it does flipping hurt. I mean, rugby doesn't get any softer. The older you get and the more knackered you get, it still hurts. It's lovely.
My knees are still hurting from that game against Stroud Vets the other weekend.
Yeah, that was quite dry. But it's just a great thing that for people to be involved with, and it's nice that we can be part of something that's huge with the other charities, Fored, Doddy and David Lawrence. I use the word too often these days about it being humbling, but there is no other word to describe it. We're doing a good thing, and I'm very, very proud of what we're achieving.
No, it's class. Rob, I'll give you the last word. Give us a rallying call to anybody that's watching or listening about how they can get involved, whether being there or even if they can't.
Well, I was going to say the one person we haven't talked about really in this is David Lawrence, and I'm a Cheltenham lad. If you cut people in half in Gloucestershire, they bleed rugby and cricket. I grew up going to the Cheltenham College at the Cheltenham Cricket Festival, watching David come into the team with Jack Russell, Courtney Walsh as the overseas player, watching David grow as a fast bowler, quite a fearsome chap. Watched him take Kepler Vessel's middle stump down at Bristol in the touring 85 Australians. The whole place went mad. Third ball, middle stump, tumbling towards Jack Russell in front of all the England selectors. It's a moment I will never forget in watching sport. And everyone was behind him. And it's such a tragedy that he's now suffering with MND. So it's lovely to involve the David Lawrence side as well as the rugby side. So there'll be a link. I'm sure you'll put it on your podcast to buy tickets. They're £10 for adults, £5 concessions. Tickets on the gate as well on the day. Just come along, support. It's a marvellous thing. We'd hope this is not the only one. Maybe we'll do some more, either in Gloucester or elsewhere. There will be other games, and maybe this could be the first of a few. It'll be a fantastic day, I think, either on the walk beforehand, if you want to join that, or on the day itself. Support in any way you can.
Class. Gentlemen, I absolutely love it. It's been an absolute pleasure of mine to speak to you about this. Charities that mean a lot in a game, that mean a lot. And thank you for everything you're doing to make it happen. All the very best. And wish I was there. I won't be, but I'm sticking my name in the hat for the Egg Chasers at some point and the Matt Ratana Foundation at some point in the future.
Another time.
Thanks both.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. What an amazing game. May the 4th. So many top names, heroes from probably when you were watching and maybe when you were playing, doing good things for good people to raise money and awareness for some incredible charities. All the information will be in the blurb down below. If you enjoyed it, you can catch us on Apple, Acast and Spotify. You can watch on Facebook and YouTube. Yeah, there's still lots to do, and it's going to take even more of these events. So if you can, please get involved. My name is Bruce Aitchison from the Happiness Is podcast. My happiness is egg-shaped. I'll speak to you all again very, very soon. Thank you.